We begin with our senior business reporter, Andrew Laidley, who has joined us here in studio.
Yes, Carolyn, Andrew was in Parliament up to just a moment ago, covering the opening address of this year's budget presentation by the Minister of Finance and the Public Service, Dr. Nigel Clarke. Over to you, Andrew.
Thank you very much. So we heard a lot about what needs to be done, but really we didn't get as much detail as we'd like to get. I want to start off how the finance minister started when he was talking, about his revenue measures, for example, where he spoke about the spate of, criminality surrounding cash couriers and the kind of financial support that he will be providing for those companies. Take a listen.
Given the gravity of the situation, increased fear and the negative spillover effects to the society, the government is proposing to increase support for the armored cash courier industry, not any one company, and to enhance the security of courier operations. Madam Speaker, effective the first quarter of the upcoming fiscal year, and for 24 months thereafter, any company that operates an approved cash courier business will be able to import free of general consumption tax on the added cost of armoring the vehicle. So you buy the car for $100, you have to pay full duty and GCT on the car. But sometimes to armor that car takes another $100 or $80 as the case may be. And then to say you have to pay all of those on the armor as well acts as a disincentive for the retooling that is necessary to provide the security that we need for the logistics of cash movements.
So there you have it, some support there for security companies and well needed. We also heard about customs threshold being increased. I know on social media persons have been lobbying for this for quite some time. The duty-free threshold will go up from $50 to $100. And when it comes to household products, the duty-free threshold is being increased from $500 to $1,000. So some good news there. And then we also heard about a pension exemption. This is where the finance minister is trying to provide some relief for some of the most vulnerable persons in our society. We heard pensioners earning $2.1 million or less who are also 65 years old, or older, will be beneficiaries of that. We also know that, pensioners 55 years and older earning $1.7 million or less will also benefit from that. Now, some of the other things that we heard about, which created, stir within Parliament moments ago, were a reverse tax credit for Jamaicans earning $3 million or less. We'll provide much more details on this in subsequent newscasts. We also heard about anomalies for public sector compensation, especially for contractors, a really sensitive issue right there. So I also spoke with opposition spokesman on finance, that's Mr. Julian Robinson, moments ago. And he was explaining to me, that we heard a lot about, what the government plans to do in terms of really providing relief for some of the poorest Jamaicans. But what we didn't hear is how he plans to really finance this budget. And of course, we'll bring you those details in subsequent newscasts. Your thoughts on let's start with the revenue measures, which were just disclosed.
Well, as I said to the minister, I think it's important to indicate the source of the revenue. So we're giving up about $25 billion. He's getting that back in the securitization of some assets, but he hasn't provided any details on that. And I think it's important for transparency for those details to be provided. Obviously, we have no issue with providing some relief. We have been advocates of providing relief. But where you're going to get the revenues from, the assets that are being securitized and sold, I think the public needs to know what those are. And up to now, we don't. So that's one thing. I think there's a need for transparency there. On the issue of relaxing the procurement rules, we accept that the procurement rules are burdensome. However, it is important that in relaxing those rules, we maintain integrity and accountability. And in that regard, the government needs to publish all contracts that have been awarded over $10 million. Put them on the website. In the former iteration of the Contractor General, he used to publish on a quarterly basis all of those contracts. The Integrity Commission has discontinued that, so I believe if we're going to relax procurement rules so that we can speed up the procurement process, then there needs to be transparency so that the public can know who has been awarded contracts. So I am calling for that in that process.
What are your thoughts on the announcement? So there you have it, just some initial reactions to today's budget presentation. Of course, I will continue to go through the presentations as they happen throughout the week and throughout next week, and we'll continue to bring you as much detail as possible about how the national expenditure will be financed. Caroline, it's back to you.
Thank you, Andrew. Of course, this is where you will see it